Right, so let's look at language features of a critical response. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we went through the three key main language features of critical responses, and they are complex sentences, evaluative language, and hedging. All right, so I'm just going to go through real quickly. Now, so complex sentences, so when do we use them, right? Okay, so complex sentences, we use them when we want to show different relationships between ideas or to use sentence patterns like what we learned during our complex sentences lessons, right? The just because and it doesn't mean. Okay, so basically it shows cause and effect, and it's pretty effective if we want to show contrasting ideas. Now, if for evaluative language, okay, so remember in critical responses, okay, we do want to make our argument strong, right? So we use evaluative language to express our feelings and opinions about text, topics, information, ideas, and certain issues. Now, we do this by using verbs, adjectives, although it's not limited to specific parts of speech. And we also use metaphors, similes, or analogies, right? So evaluative language actually is a way to it's a way for the writer to show their attitude or main opinion about a certain topic. Now, so for hedging, okay, so hedging is very common in argumentative writing and writing critical responses. Why? Because we use hedging because we want to moderate our point of view. It helps us avoid overgeneralizing and also makes our point less absolute. Okay, it shows our audience that we are aiming to be more thoughtful and balanced in our perspectives. Okay, so how do we do hedging? Normally, we will use modals or adverbs to soften or tone down our language. Now, if you need more resources to help you in your sentence structures, hedging, evaluative language, you may pause the video and you can actually scan the QR codes here. You can also use these useful phrases for evaluative writing. I feel that this is much more suited for task 2 triggered. However, feel free to use it for task 1 as well, especially when you are trying to compare ideas. Yeah, you can pause the video here. Okay, now let's write a paragraph for task 1. Okay, so I chose Facebook as my platform for discussion. Now, as what I have planned, okay, so I think that Facebook is generally beneficial for teenagers, right? So this is how I begin my paragraph. Again, feel free to pause the video at certain points to help you pace your learning. Now, as you can see, I have chosen to begin my paragraph with a complex sentence. Okay, let me just show it here. Okay, this one, right? The just because and it does not mean. Okay, using the just because sentence pattern, okay, like what we went through in class. And I think this sentence can help me show another perspective effectively. All right. Now, for the next part of my paragraph, I decided to use a bit of hedging with the modal could, right, to moderate my view. And I also decided to write another complex sentence to show a contrast of ideas, okay, as seen here. But I would like to draw your attention to the evaluative language I decided to use here. So words like connect, expand, right? Provide opportunities, develop. These are verbs that illustrate my point of view on how Facebook enables teenagers to be more proactive in acquiring knowledge or developing skills. Okay, for this part, okay, as you can see, I've used a conjunctive adverb to introduce another point here. Again, I want to show my readers that I think Facebook is such a great platform. So I use evaluative language, so verbs and adverbs to illustrate my point of view. Okay, like for example here, okay, they are competing with other video conferencing giants like Google Meet and Zoom, so they have more functions other than the chat function, right? So I use another complex sentence over here, right, to show a contrast in ideas. Now, you notice that I use a bit of hedging over here, right? Again, to soften my statement, okay? And of course, I persuade my readers with the use of evaluative language with verbs and adjectives, like for example, the word rich, right? Okay. Now, remember, the purpose of counter arguments and rebuttals is to tell your readers that you have considered all alternative viewpoints and you want to tell them that your view is obviously more superior, right? So I have already brainstormed all the possible critiques of my argument. And I decided to include the fact that Facebook promotes or is sort of a breeding ground for scams and has been guilty of data breach. So I would include that in my counter argument, right? So as you can see here, so this is my counter argument, the one in blue. So I felt that I needed to detach myself from the view. So instead of using I, okay, over here, I use this instead, right? Those against Facebook might argue. Okay, I also use hedging to soften my tone with may and might. Yeah, I use conjunctive adverb of additionally, right, to support the view critiquing my argument. Like additionally is Facebook is a breeding ground for cybercrime. Okay, so you notice that this counter argument really goes against my main argument or my thesis statement. Let's say that's the purpose of a counter argument. It has to go against your original argument. Okay, and this is where your rebuttal comes in, right? So I need to refute or rebut this counter argument because I need to prove that my original view is far more superior or more valid, right? And as you can see, I use another complex sentence to begin my rebuttal. Okay, and I continue to use modals, um to soften my tone, okay, to to open up the idea that there's still possibilities to consider. Okay, so I'm moderating my view here, okay, quite often. And of course, okay, in order to squash the argument in a counter argument, okay, I need to beef up my rebuttal, right? So I need to include examples. Okay, so I'm talking about how plenty of applications that help manage social media use like freedom or off time. Okay, the word also again, okay, gives me another way to add on or to support my argument. And of course, if you see here, okay, the word indeed, right? I feel it makes my writing stronger because it shows certainty and yeah, and I think it's a nice way to end my paragraph. Right. So some of you might be asking, what is the generally accepted format for article in O levels? So this is it. All right. Basically, all you have to do is provide a title for your article and underline it. Okay. So that's the subject or the title of your article. So for email, this is the generally accepted format for email in O level. Okay, so you may refer to this as you write your critical response. Okay, but just a word of caution. Okay, we don't want you to be too preoccupied with the format. Remember, we are looking at language mostly. All right, so focus on language use of critical responses as opposed to the format. Okay. Other than that, all the best. You're all set. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to approach any of your EL teachers and feel free to replay all the videos in this SLS lesson. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.